Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My name is Heidi Roth, and I'm a registered dietitian. And I'm so happy that you could join me here today for our topic, Spiralize Down the Carbs. We're going to be making two different dishes today. We'll be making a sweet and sour cucumber carrot salad using spiralized cucumbers and carrots. And then we're also going to be making an antipasto salad. So instead of using pasta for the salad, we're going to be using zucchini noodles. So let's get started. As usual, if you see me looking down, I actually have my chat box open. Feel free to use the chat box for questions. You won't be able to unmute yourselves during the presentation, but I love it when people are interactive. And so if you have some questions, please feel free. But otherwise, maybe we'll leave a minute or two at the end to answer any questions as well. So let's get started. Why would we want to use zucchini and carrots and squash, different types of squash? There's lots of different things that you can spiralize. But one of the really great benefits of using these types of vegetables is not only are they lower in carbohydrates, so they help keep your blood sugars a little bit more stable, maybe help you watch your weight a little bit. But when you're adding these vegetables in, instead of just, pasta or white rice or something like that, you're adding in a lot more nutrition as well. So there's a lot of great reasons for using spiralized vegetables. Now, what you can do is you could buy the spiralized zucchini at the store for our first recipe. We're going to be using 3 small zucchini. Mine are a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to be using 1 large zucchini. So if you have some in your garden, try and get them before they get too big. They tend to be a little bit more tender that way, but they work however. So you can already buy these spiralized vegetables already in the store, which is certainly convenient. I like to make my own at home because it's so quick and so easy to do. When you buy them at the store already pre-made, they're very convenient, but they do tend to be expensive, and they only last for about a day or two before they start getting kind of icky and a little slimy. So I would recommend, if you are going to do this fairly often, that you invest in your own kind of spiralizer. The one that I got is something called the Paderno, and you can see the box right here. I believe this was about 30 bucks on Amazon, gets really good reviews. So this is the one I like. You can also use the small little handheld spiralizer. So maybe you're just doing a quick zucchini or, cucumber, something like that. The only thing with that is that it does make much smaller spirals. And if you have a larger vegetable, it doesn't fit all that much in. It might be good for carrots, but so I just like kind of the handheld one a little bit better. And it's so easy, quick and easy. You just put, your vegetable on one side there, put the prongs in on the other side, and then take your left hand or your non-dominant hand, and you're going to kind of just pull it in. And then very quickly, you can see we've got some nice spiralized zucchini. And if you have kids, it's kind of fun for them to do. When my kids were small, I used to sometimes do these for food demos in person. And so, I might be feeding like 100 people and had to have enough spiralized zucchini, quite a bit of zucchini for like 100 people. So I'd get my kids to turn it for me, and they always found that to be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, now they're all grown up and teenagers, so they don't find the same amount of fun in there anymore. Now, you can see some of these get really, really long. Oh my goodness. So if you want, you can take, some kitchen scissors, and you can kind of just give them a little cut right there, or just a knife, or, you just leave as is and, have people cut it themselves on their plate. So I'm going to add in the rest of my zucchini here. Now, the other thing that we're going to be making is a spiralized cucumber and carrot salad. This is one of my favorite salads. I love the salad. It has a lot of kind of Thai flavors to it, a little bit of Vietnamese. But for this salad, we're actually going to be using some cucumbers and carrots. So I'm going to take half of an English cucumber. I've got my English cucumber here. The nice thing about English cucumbers when you're spiralizing them is that number one, you can eat the skin, and you can also, the seeds are very small and you can eat the seeds. So if they kind of get spiralized in there as well, it's not a big deal. So cucumber especially tends to be something that's very easy to do at home. You don't often find spiralized zucchini in the store. And if you don't have a spiralizer, for both of these recipes, you could take a mandolin and just do some very thin slices. That would be fine too. It's just fun with the noodles to kind of do the noodles. So with this one as well, just gonna do quickly spiralize my cucumber. Cucumbers have a lot of water in them, which is nice for the summertime. They're very hydrating vegetable, but it does tend to get a little bit messier than when you're doing zucchini. Now you'll see in the middle, there's kind of this core. I'm just going to throw the core out. And then now take my spiralized zucchini, spiralized cucumber. And already in here, I have some spiralized carrot. And you're probably wondering, like, what kind of carrot is that? Well, my carrots at the store, when I went there this morning, they were all really, really thin. And so when you're spiralizing carrots, you need kind of thicker carrots. So what I did was all the orange carrots, I just bought the tricolor carrots. Carrots, amazingly enough, come in many different colors. They come in purple and kind of yellow, orange. So I found some bigger carrots, and then I also found, the purple carrot. Isn't that gorgeous? It's got the orange inside to it, and then the purple outside. So carrots are a little bit trickier because sometimes they don't tend to be straight, but you want to look for some of the bigger ones that are actually going to stay on while you spiralize it. And carrots do tend to require a little bit more muscle than the other vegetables as you're spiralizing them. And I want to make sure that it's on there. So as you can see, I'm kind of having some difficulty because my end is too small. So what you want to do is just cut off the ends, and so it sticks on there. And that's the benefit of some of the bigger vegetables. But this will work. You can see now this is going to work beautifully, and these carrots are going to be just stunning in the salad. It's going to be a very colorful salad. So here you can kind of see I'm kind of leaning to the side. I'm really pulling this here. So carrots, because they are a harder vegetable, are going to require a little bit more muscle. This is especially true if you're doing something like a sweet potato or, some of the harder types of vegetables, but they work perfectly well as well. And then what you can do, you don't want to waste any, you could certainly just kind of cut the rest of the carrot up and add it in. Aren't these pretty? They're quite amazing. You could add it in that way, or just save it for something else. So here we have our carrots and our green, and it's a lot of stuff going on there. I think actually the orange carrots are actually prettier than the dark ones, but they're pretty too. Okay, so I see we have some questions, so I'm going to look here. Okay. So somebody found the one on Amazon, the Spiralizer 7-blade. Yeah, it's nice because you can get different blades to do different things. So here are some of the blades that come along with this one. You can get a smaller spiral. And then what you can also get is, if you want you can switch it out. And you can do kind of these really pretty bigger spirals. I'm going to show you this one. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my carrot here that's left just to show you what we have here for this blade. And you get actually, because this isn't wide enough, it's only chopping them in these half moons. But if you get one of the bigger vegetables, it kind of is this like kind of really big spiral that's really pretty. So with 7 blades, of course, that'll even give you more choices for what you want to do. All right, so probably the question that's on everyone's mind is it easy to clean? Yes, that's the last question I'm seeing. It really is. I throw mine in the dishwasher. So what you do is you kind of take it apart, and this comes off. This comes off. Oops, there we go. So these, you know, the handle doesn't, you could throw them in the dishwasher too. You throw this piece in the dishwasher, and then with your blades, you kind of, what I do is I just kind of grab some of the bigger pieces of the vegetables out, maybe take a little brush, and then I just throw the blades in the dishwasher too. This, I probably will just, you know, what you do is you suction cup it onto the counter. So this I probably won't put in the dishwasher. I'll take this blade off. And then this, I just, you know, run it under running water with a little bit of soap, you know, in my sink. I wouldn't put this whole thing in my dishwasher, but I guess you really could. I don't see why you couldn't. But yeah, I think overall it's very easy to clean. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw this all aside in my sink and take just my washcloth. So the cucumber for sure is very, very juicy. So you will get a little bit of water. Just keep your cloth handy and nearby. Okay, so let's start first with our Zoodle, zucchini Zoodle antipasta salad. This salad is lovely in summertime. I serve it all the time. Use up some of your garden zucchini, garden vegetables, and then it has a little bit of protein in it. We're going to add in about a cup of garbanzo beans. I'm just going to add in the whole can. I drained the whole can. It calls for a cup, but you know what? The garbanzo beans are going to add in some extra protein. They'll add in a little bit more carbohydrate as well. So if you're really trying to keep the carbs low, cut down a little bit on the garbanzo beans. But this makes a really nice dish to serve alongside, you know, maybe some grilled fish. If you're plant-based, some grilled tofu, grilled chicken breasts, salmon, lots of things that you can add in. Okay, so I'm going to grab my cutting board here, and we're going to add in as well a little bit of chopped sliced red onion. So I tried to slice the onion as thin as I could while still being in somewhat of a hurry. So this probably could have been a little bit thinner. If you don't like the taste of raw onion, one thing that you can do is you can let it sit in some water for about 10-15 minutes. And it really takes away a lot of the bitterness, not even bitterness, but sting of a raw onion. So you may prefer it that way. Or you just add in a little bit less, but I like the raw red onion. Or you just chop it into smaller pieces. And then we're going to add in a half a cup of sliced Kalamata olives. And about half a cup to a cup of sliced grape tomatoes. And you know, this recipe these are suggestions for what you can add in. Let's say you don't have tomatoes, but you have red pepper, then you add the red pepper in. Let's say you don't have garbanzo beans, but you have, let's say pinto beans, you put the pinto beans in. So it's a suggestion of what you can do. And then I'm going to add in 3 slices of provolone cheese that I've diced. You could also use mozzarella cheese. If you are plant-based, you could use a plant-based cheese or just keep it out as well. If you like feta cheese, a little bit of feta. So we'll add that in there. And so those are the main things. The last thing I'm going to add, the recipe calls for artichoke hearts. And I like artichoke hearts, but to me, they're just kind of meh. They're actually really, really high in antioxidants. So if you like artichoke hearts, definitely add them in. The marinated artichoke hearts are delicious in here. And I do add them. I am obsessed with these hearts of palm. I don't know. Has anyone ever used these hearts of palm? Hearts of palm are actually from a palm tree. They're used in Caribbean cooking a lot, and they're becoming a little bit more popular, and they taste a little bit like artichokes. And they just have a really nice, mild flavor. And I love, love, love them. I see somebody else there also comments of, loving the chickpeas and call them olives, right? And also a couple of people love the hearts of palm. So hearts of palm, you can see are just, the inside of, I guess, the palm tree. And they're really mild. They taste a little bit like artichoke hearts. And I would say they're probably similar in texture to an artichoke heart as well. So they're kind of just really soft and mild. And you can just cut them up and throw them in as well. So to me, I prefer these over artichokes, but whichever you prefer, this is your salad. So make it the way that you like it. So lastly, what we'll do is we'll put our dressing in. And I'm a huge fan of making your own vinaigrette for many reasons. Number one, you can control the type of oil that you use. I tend to always use the extra virgin olive oil. And the reason that I do that is that extra virgin olive oil it tends to be extracted, so it's not highly refined. It's a big part of the Mediterranean diet, which we know can help decrease inflammation, decrease risk of chronic diseases. And then lastly, the extra virgin olive oil also contains some different compounds that none of the other oils contain, these polyphenols that actually help to decrease inflammation. So that's why I like to use the extra virgin. You could use some canola oil, whatever you like, but I like the extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You could add in a little bit more, a little bit less. I tend to eyeball things a lot when I'm making things like salad dressings because, why get another tablespoon dirty? And basically, most vinaigrettes are a ratio of 2 to 1 of oil to some sort of acid like vinegar or lime juice. But for this one, we're going to do a 1-to-1 ratio of vinegar to oil because it just works better with the salad, not to have it too oily. So I'm going to add in my white Modena vinegar. This is kind of like a white balsamic vinegar. You could use a red wine vinegar, would be very nice. And we're looking for about 2 tablespoons as well of that. I'm going to eyeball it once again, and it looks like a ratio of 1-to-1 there. So we're good. But we're looking for about 2 tablespoons. If you get a little more, a little less, not a big deal. Okay, and then we'll add in vinaigrettes. Always are basically 3 or 4 things. Vinegar, some as the acid or lime juice, some sort of oil, salt, and pepper. And there you go. There's your very, very basic vinaigrette. So super quick and easy to make. And then you can put it on hand, keep it on hand. We're actually probably not even going to use all of this vinaigrette, but I like to use these little mason jars, and then I just keep it in the fridge and pull it out whenever I need a vinaigrette for something, and it keeps quite a while in the fridge, at least a month. Now adding in a 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano. if you have some fresh oregano in your garden, that would be really, really lovely. And then lastly, I'm going to add in some, actually, you know what? I'm not going to add in the basil. I'm going to shake this up and add the basil in separately. So I'm a big fan of having a basil plant on your windowsill. I don't have a green thumb. I wish I did. My parents had this huge organic garden growing up, but I did not get their green thumb. But the one thing that is really, really easy to grow, even just on a sunny windowsill, is basil. And then you can put it outside for the summer. So then you always have the fresh basil available, and it's much cheaper than constantly, buying the fresh basil, which lasts like 5 hours and before it gets brown and icky and moldy. The other thing that I do sometimes with my basil is I put it just even in a glass of water on my windowsill. And basil doesn't, is quite happy to sit in this glass of water, where a lot of plants might not be. But that way, if you forget to water it, it actually kind of waters itself. And if you go away on vacation, it's fine. So, get yourself a little basil plant. Oh, the other reason why I have the rows out is that these zucchini noodles are also really good with some marinara sauce, and also a great substitute for if you want to eat them hot. All right, so I'm just going to take my basil and chop that as well and throw that in, and then my vinaigrette. So I'm just going to shake up. Probably not going to add in the whole amount of vinaigrette. We'll start off with part of it. I'll taste it. This type of vinaigrette, because we don't have an emulsifier, you have to shake and add pretty quickly. If you added a little bit of Dijon mustard to it, it would stay in the emulsion much better. And you know what? Yeah, let's see. We'll start first with that. Actually, no, I'm going to add the whole thing in. This will work well, the whole thing. It's just habit. You can't go back once you add the vinegar or the vinaigrette. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. So there we go. Here is our pasta salad here, made with zucchini noodles. And it is so delicious and keeps for a couple days. Now, what happens as you keep it for a couple days is it's actually going to pull a little bit of the water out of the zucchini, which to me is fine. It just softens up the zucchini a little bit. The zucchini is pretty tough right now, but the longer it sits, the more it's going to kind of soften up. So then the last thing I want to do too is I just want to give it a little taste. Find a zucchini noodle, maybe that's not too big. Yummy. So what are you tasting for? Just picking up my towel here that fell to the ground. You're basically saying, does it need any more salt? Could it use a little bit more pepper? When you're using raw, fresh vegetables like this, a little bit of salt goes a long way. So I'm actually just going to add in a tiny bit more, and then it's pretty perfect. And this is certainly, if you add more basil, it would be delicious. Add more of what you like. So if you're crazy about the olives, add more olives. Keep them out if you don't like them. And this is just this perfect little summer salad to serve along something from the grill. So I'm trying to get some more of the goodies. The goodies tend to fall on the bottom, so maybe get yourself some tongs so you can serve it. So there we go. There is our Zoodle salad. People love this salad. It definitely, when you talk about crowd pleasers, this is definitely a crowd pleaser. Okay. So let's now go to one of my favorite flavor profiles, which would be the Asian flavor profile. And with this, so we have our carrots, we've got our zucchini. We're going to add in lots of fresh herbs. So we'll add in some cilantro, some mint, some basil actually would be really good in here too. I already washed this cilantro. I'm seeing kind of one little icky piece here. Cilantro does tend to come with a lot of sand in it, so you really want to wash it. I spin it dry as well. It lasts much longer. So I'm just going to roughly chop myself some cilantro, maybe about a half a cup. I know that there are people out there that don't like cilantro. I don't understand that because I love cilantro, but I do. I know it's genetic. And for some people, it tastes like soap. So for those of you who don't like cilantro, put in some parsley, keep it out, or add in some basil instead. There's a lot of just different herbs that you could add. And then lastly, some mint. Mint is also one of these things that is so easy to grow. So, add some mint to your garden, but keep it in a separate pot because it does take over and will literally start growing on the lawn. Which is maybe one of the reasons why I like it so much, because it's so easy to grow. All right, so I'm just going to kind of chop up my mint leaves here, roughly. Oh, it smells so good. It smells really, really, really minty. Okay, so adding in my mint. And then let's make our vinaigrette. So to this one, we'll also add in a little bit of onion. So use of our onion again, add in as much or as little as you want, roughly about a quarter cup or so. And then we'll make our vinaigrette for this one. So for this one, I'm using the extra virgin olive oil again, which is not really kind of typically used in Asian cooking, but it's the only type of oil I have at home. I use it for everything. So I find that it's fine. So we're going to add in I've got 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. And rice wine vinegar is just really kind of very typical of Asian cooking. It's a very mild vinegar. So you could substitute really, this white vinegar would be nice, or just an apple cider vinegar. I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And if you can find the low sodium soy sauce, always buy the low sodium soy sauce. Soy sauce is really high in sodium. The store didn't have it when I went there, so regular soy sauce. But and then toasted sesame oil. Toasted sesame oil is, I love it. It's got this really lovely sesame toasty flavor to it. Now, keep in mind, this oil always needs to be kept in the fridge. It goes rancid really quickly. The other thing about this oil is that it's typically added at the end of cooking because it can burn very easily. So, and you're really adding this type of oil for taste rather than using it to cook with. Now, there are some types of sesame oil that you can cook with, but they're not the toasted one. So it's kind of a separate way to use it. Okay, so we've got soy sauce, sesame seed oil, a lime. So we're going to add in the juice of 1 lime. And one way to get extra out of it is to roll it. So I'm seeing we're out of time here pretty soon. I'm going to add my lime in really quickly, and then we're going to throw it in. And so this is just my little lime juicer. If you're looking for like an extra little kind of stocking stuffer, not really that time of year, but a little gift for someone, Mother's Day is past, but maybe Father's Day, these little stainless steel juicers are really, really nice. And then lastly, I'm going to add in a tiny bit of sweetness. So I'm going to add in some agave, but you could also use something like a little bit of brown sugar, a teaspoon of that. If you're really, really watching your carbs, just keep it out. But it kind of is that nice, kind of salty, sweet flavor profile. Okay. So shake that up. And we're going to add it in. This one I'm probably going to keep a little bit out. Some extra tongs. All right. So far in this, we've got half of an English cucumber. We've got 2 carrots. I've got a quarter cup of cilantro, a quarter cup of mint. And then 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, a little bit of lime juice, the toasted sesame seed oil. And then the last thing that you can add, go ahead and we'll serve this. Now this is going to have plenty of salt. So you see how long these are? I probably would cut some of these before making them so long, but so this is always the fun of a live demo, is that yeah, where'd my scissors go? Yeah, this is a good cautionary tale to, you might want to cut some of the noodles. Okay, so add that in, maybe add in a little bit of the extra herbs and other stuff here. And then to finish it off, add in some chopped nuts is a lovely little finish. So adding in some chopped peanuts is really delicious as well. Oh, you know what? The other thing that we forgot to add is we forgot to add our pepper flakes. So if you like a little bit of heat, add some red pepper flakes to both of these would be delicious. All right, so we're out of time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here today. And hopefully you learned a little bit. Thank you for answering each other's questions in the chat. So that was nice that you guys all did that, since we're out of time. So thank you so much, everyone. So glad that you could join me here today, and enjoy your summer salads and your spiralizing down the carbs. We'll see you all. Bye-bye. Thank you.